Welcome back. In the last video, we designed this UI, but I have been changing something. For example, this color, I change it to this red color, and how you can pick the color is simply you can just select the hash value of colors and you can set it here. And how you can get this hash value color is simple actually. All you have to do, just go to the picture, double click, open the picture, and you can see this pin which you can copy the color for anything that you want. All you have to do, just grab it and go to, for example, I will get this color. There you go, you have this color, or you can get some other colors like this, you can get it. Okay, this is how you can get the hash value, and you can set any color for your design. Okay, now it's time to start with giving an ID. So how we can communicate between the main activity and this UI, it's the way that you have to give an ID. Then you can call this ID into your in your activity. Okay, so right now this part, it will not going to change, so we don't need to give an ID for this two, but this one is going to be changed, and I will say dice1, dice image ID. Okay, and say yes, and for this one I will set it as dice image ID second. Say yes. Then we have a button, which we need an ID for the button as well, which I can just call it a role button ID. And I will copy this role button ID. Then we have something called onClick, which whenever we click this ID, this particular ID, then this one will gonna show. So I will remove the ID here. I will say clicked. Okay, now if you see, we get an error because we put onClick ID for a button, but I never call this onClick ID method. So how we can get rid of this error? All you have to do, copy this onClick, then I have to go to the Java, I have to open the main activity, then all I have to do is say fun, then paste the ID, the onClick ID, then I will say view of type view, then say enter, so it will import it to our class, then return open and close parentheses. Okay, so this role button clicked is the button that we have on the screen. Whenever we click this button will accept it, and whatever we decided to happen here, it will gonna do. Okay, so we talk about the logic, what we will gonna do. If you see here, we have a dice 0 up to 6. Up to 6, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 different dice, and we need this dice randomly choose every time when we click this roll button. Okay, so how we can do that? Let's make a new function. Okay, so we can call these functions multiple times, especially at the onClick onCreate view, which the view will going to be created after we run the application, and it will call only one time, and when it's called, I need to have this functions to randomly choose one dice and show it on the screen. Okay, Now the function, I will just say dice rulable, something like this. Then how we can start with this randomly choose this dice. All you have to do is say val random equal to random. So we have one function which call random. Okay, nice. Okay, now okay, so we have to choose this random function. I have to remove this guy right here. Let's do it again. Let's import it. Say okay. Then initialize this random. And now we need two dice number. So this is happening by the number of the dice. So we will say val first dice num equal to a random. We will call the random variable that we just created. Then we will say next int, and we will pass in the number of integer that we have, which is 5. Okay, from 0 to 5 it will be 6, and we will make the same variable, but this time for the second number, so we can set both image like this. So I will change the first to second, and the variable will be exactly the same, and in both of them we'll randomly choose one number that we need. Okay, now how we can call this, so for example, if I will print out println this message and say, for example, second number, and when I run the application, it will randomly choose one number from 0 to 5. Okay, so go ahead and print out and see what will happen. I will not gonna print out because I need to make this video short. Okay, now how we can get the image to show on the ID, we have to make the resource ID. So we will say val resource ID first equal to, so we have two resource ID, which is the first one and the second one. So the resource ID is resources. Okay, then from the resources we will get identifier from this resource. Identifier, and for the get identifier, we need to have a image name display. If you can't see here, this is the image name that we need. So the first one, it will be image name, and we know the image name is start with dice with a number, and the number we already pick up here. So I will say dice. Okay, then $sign and the first dice number. Okay, then let's close up this guy right here. Then we will say comma. Then we have a div type, which is the type of folder that we need to search and find out this name, this image, which in our case is drawable. So DRAWBLE. Then lastly, what we will do, we will access the package name for this particular image. Okay, and we can copy this guy and do the same thing for the second resource ID. So second, and we can change this to second dice number, and the rest of it will be the same. Okay, now we have two dice ID. If you remember, we give the ID for the first dice and the second one, right? So if I will click and if I will go back to the ID, it's a dice image ID, then dice image ID 2. So all you have to do is say dice image ID. So the first one is for the first image, all you have to do is say set image. So if you see here, okay, so we can set image by bitmap, by drawable, by resource ID. Okay, so we need the resource. So we will click the resource and pass in the resource ID that we just create, and do the same thing for the second one. So we will say dice image 2 dot set resource ID, set image resource, and the resource ID is resource ID 2. Okay, and in this point we already finished the our applications. All you have to do, call this function inside here one time. So we can say dice rollable, and in the same time we can call it inside the second one, dice rollable. So the onCreate, why we are calling it here, because we need to show it at the first time and randomly choose one number, and the second one, whenever we click the button, it will going to show us a second one. Okay, so let's run it. I will run it on my device. Okay, and play. And let me record it, then later on I can show you. It will run the application. Very good, it's successful. Now it's installing the APK package to my device. Okay, it's running. Okay, nothing happening. Why is that? So after we run, nothing happened because we made a mistake by the naming the drawable type of. So we have to name it exactly the way that it's supposed to. So you have to put the A in here. If you look at here, the drawable is like this spell, and over here, we by mistake we didn't put the A in there. So make sure this two, the package name, and this define file, it will be exactly the same. Okay, let's stop it and run it again. Now installing. Okay, nice. Right now we have 4 and 3. If I will click roll, it will change it. If I will click roll, it will change it and also change it as well. Nice, well done. Now you have create your own first application and go ahead and play with it, and you have your own applications, and make sure you will change design of this application as well. Okay, thank you for watching. We will be continuing the next one.